Extreme warnings. Will you be going to see it? Also, our phones track our every move. Now there's a new app out that can help secure our data. Plus, Tom Hanks showing Cleveland some love. Lunch break starts right now.
It's your lunch break with Jay Crawford.
And hello again, and welcome to Lunch Break. We're excited. We make our TV debut Monday on Channel 3. We certainly hope you'll join us. Today, we are streaming live. We're streaming on YouTube, and we're streaming on Facebook, so we encourage your comments throughout the show. Weigh in on any of our topics, and who knows, we may get to your topics on air. With MAUREEN Kyle today, I'm Jay Crawford. MAUREEN, we made it to Thursday. Weekend's right around the corner.
We like to call it Friday Eve.
Because
it definitely has that feel, especially on a nice warm day like today.
So it used to be where big movies debuted on Fridays. Now they can't wait, so they debut Thursday at midnight. And there's a big one that's going to be at theaters tonight. First on the menu, Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix, hits theaters tonight. And it comes with, MAUREEN, great anticipation, a lot of hype around this movie, serious warnings, and a ton of controversy.
For my whole life, I didn't know if I even really existed. But I do. And people are starting to notice.
It is dark, so be ready for that. We all remember 2012. Right. They had a midnight debut of one of the Batman spinoffs, Dark Knight Rises. A gunman stormed a theater in Aurora, Colorado, killing 12, shot 58 others. And already there are threats, MAUREEN, that similar things could happen at theaters across the country tonight. It comes with warnings. We know that there's been threats. The theaters are saying they're not going to allow patrons in with costumes or with masks covering their face. That makes perfect sense.
Right.
But there's really, I guess the only way to make sure you're perfectly safe is to not go to the movie.
Yeah.
Will you go? Or what's your thought on that?
And we've been talking about this all day because there's law enforcement saying they are going to step up patrols outside the theater. So as a parent, first of all, I don't know if I would go to this movie if there's warnings around it. Everybody's afraid to go to places where there could possibly be mass shootings. And then as a parent, even if there was a Winnie the Pooh movie showing next door, I personally am not going to risk it and take my kids to the theater even next to it. Yeah,
and they're already saying, look, this is in no way, shape, or form for kids.
Yeah.
This is a plus 17 movie for sure. The thing is, Hollywood they're copycats. If something is big, they're going to make more of it. And if this movie, a lot of executives in Hollywood will watch this movie very closely, and if this movie is successful, then you can bet there will be more movies that are dark and filled with a lot of violence.
Yeah.
And if societally, we can't complain about all the violence if we patronize violent things because we're only going to get more of it.
If there's going to be consumer demand for it, then yeah, you're going to see Hollywood make more films like this. So
absolutely,
we'll see where it goes.
Next up, we know this. Our phones are following our every move. And we've given them permission to do that. When we install those apps, MAUREEN, we don't read the 15 pages on the disclaimer.
Who has time for that?
But
no one.
What we know what it says is we're going to collect your data, and in some cases we're going to do whatever we want with that data. Here's some of the things that you should know, if you don't already, about what your phone can actually collect and sell to others. Your location, in fact, your live location, MAUREEN, that's kind of spooky. Type of phone you're using, when you're charging your phone. There's all kinds of privacy issues that are at play here, but there is help. And our digital anchor, HANEY, is here right now, and she's going to tell us that there is something we can do about that exchange of data. Hello, Stephanie.
Hey, Jay. Hey, MAUREEN. There is definitely something you can do. There's an app called Privacy Pro Smart VPN. It does have a free 7-day trial. You do have to pay for it after that, but what this app will do is let you know what apps you're using that are sharing your name, your email address, tracking your location, and even your phone number too. So you can do that with this. Now, if you want to just take care of that location issue on your own, there's an easy way to do that. I'm going to show you how to do it right now. If you have an iPhone, go to your settings, pull that little bar down, and type in location. Once you do that, tap on the little location icon, and this will show you every app that you're using And right next to it to the right, you can see that I have while using, some say never, some don't say anything. This is the permissions that you have allowed your phone to track your location with. Now right here, you can tap on one of those apps and you can see I have Twitter set to use my location while I'm using the app and track it. I can put that on never right there. So you can take care of that all right now in case you maybe have done something you didn't want to do. But the other thing to know is that when you're downloading these apps, pay attention because they ask you and you can tell it when you want to allow or if you ever want it to allow to track your location. So we have to pay attention.
Stephanie, this is fascinating because we had this conversation about 10 o'clock this morning. I downloaded the app, and on the app, there's activity, and there are literally hundreds of instances where my data has been shared.
Yeah.
It already has told me that 74 times they didn't know exactly where that data was going, so they blocked it for me. The app is free to download, but where they get you, Maureen, is you see these numbers and you're like, whoa, I don't want my data being shared that often and freely. It's a $5 subscription per month.
Which could be worth it because that data is actually going to the robocallers. So if you're getting hit with robocalls all the time, that's where that information is going.
Absolutely, because
so
they can read your phone number.
$5 a month, you never know.
Yeah, if you hate those calls and you don't want everybody knowing where you are at all times, it's worth the $5. Okay, next on the menu, I love this. Study alert. According to a new Harvard grant study, kids who do chores, Maureen, are more successful as adults. And when you think about it, it kind of makes sense. This is the longest ongoing study in the United States. It's a study that goes back 80 years. And Maureen, what they look for is what makes people happy. And the number one and the number two things that have shown up for the last 80 years, love and work ethic. It's what makes people happy and successful. So the successful part obviously comes from a work ethic, which we can instill in our kids at a young age by assigning chores.
Right, and if you think about it too, I mean, work ethic, that means you're probably doing well at work. And if you find somebody who has the same work ethic, then that person is easier. Think about like, oh, if my husband didn't do the dishes,
exactly,
we would be fighting all the time. But yeah, I think about that with my own kids because they're little. And it's a mess when they try to like make their own bed, but they need to learn that because I don't want them growing up not knowing how to make their bed.
And that's important too. The study stresses, look, as parents, we're not getting off the hook with less work for us, with because let's face it, kids aren't great at cleaning.
No.
So we have to walk around behind them and we have to double check, but we also can instill that pride in work. This isn't how you make your bed. You show them the proper way and then say, now tomorrow we're going to try to make it so it looks more like this than what you had it today.
You're setting them up to be a good worker for some company or maybe owning their own business one day.
Did you do chores as a kid? Did
All
you
the
have
time.
to?
All the time.
I did too.
Yes.
Yeah. And I completely believe the results of this study. I have two. They're grown now, but they had chores throughout their young lives. And I could see as time went on that I had to keep an eye on them a lot less when it came to checking to see if they had done their chores. So I think it also instills responsibility along with work ethic.
Yeah.
Nothing negative about it, really.
There are chores that we still need to teach kids. Like my mom taught me how to sew a button onto something.
Yes.
Now my husband, he wants to go pay $14 for somebody to sew a button on. And I'm like, no, here we go. It's for free.
I learned in home ec class.
They don't have those anymore.
I know they don't, but it's come in handy for me. I've had to fix buttons on suit coats and whatever. Okay, this next topic hits close to home for us because we work in television. There is a nasty double standard. I've seen it throughout my career. I'm sure you have. Sometimes when you're on TV, you kind of feel like a human piñata. You're putting yourself out there. Everybody has an opinion, and in some cases, they're not afraid to share it. A local TV news anchor in Columbus, Ohio, had seen enough, and he offered this as commentary to society. Take a look.
Men are judged on the way they perform. Women are judged on the way they look, and then kind of how they perform. I asked some of the women in our newsroom about the comments they receive, and every single one of them had story after story after story. I just have two stories. One time a woman told me she didn't like my orange-colored tie, and one time a man told me my suit was too tight. 2 complaints in 15 years. 2 complaints would be a typical Tuesday morning for a female anchor. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. You need to have thicker skin if you're on television. Who says they don't? These women get hateful comments, then go out, smile, and do their job in front of tens of thousands of people, do it well, then walk back to their desk to read the next batch of hateful comments. Their skin is plenty thick, just not quite as thick as the skulls on some of the people sending the emails.
That is so true, and I'm anxious to hear your stories, if you have any, because I know from working with women throughout my career, they have it far worse than men.
I mean, there is a double standard, and there are comments. You know, if I walked off set right now, there could be somebody who says, your skirt is too short. And usually that is an older woman.
Sure.
And then you get the ones where it's like the guys who are going, hey, can you make your skirt a little shorter?
Right.
Then there are the ones that really got to me were the ones when I had my third, when I was pregnant with my third, a woman called in, got an intern on the phone and said, how dare I get pregnant again? Because it's irresponsible of me. I said that my second baby was my last baby, and I am influencing all sorts of young women out there, and I said that I wasn't going to have another baby, which I did not. So I don't know where she got that, but it was like she was so bothered by me having a third and calling me irresponsible. And I don't know why that one got to me, but it was...
Oh, that's a personal choice. I can see why it would upset you. It goes back to
I never said I wasn't having any more babies.
One of the earliest rules that we were taught, I'm sure you were, if you don't have anything kind to say, just don't say it.
Yeah.
Or if you really feel that you have to say it to someone else. Don't reach out to this person. Just be kind. And it's so much easier to do it that way.
Right. And we're lucky. We do have a lot of kind viewers. I get more kind emails than I do hateful ones.
Yes.
And I will say that about the Cleveland and Northeast Ohio area.
Very good. Stephanie Haney has been monitoring comments throughout our show. Stephanie, we only want the nice... No, I'm kidding. What did he say?
Only read the nice ones.
We love the
that
comments.
say that my skirt is the right length.
Definitely keep the comments coming. We love getting them and want to hear what you think about the topics that we're chewing on. One person had a really good point about the Joker movie. They said if you're worried about the violence, or if you're worried about maybe some kind of a violent attack or something, wait for it to come out on DVD.
Yeah. Watch it at home.
Yeah.
So much easier.
I think some people will do that instead.
Yep.
And here's a good point, too. Isaac Abadi says most apps actually won't work unless you let them take over your privacy. What do you think about that? Is it worth the trade-off?
That's the question, Stephanie, and I don't know if it is anymore. The convenience of the apps are great, but I have a lot of apps on my phone that I don't absolutely need.
Right.
I'm thinking about taking them off.
In the moment, you're thinking, I need this app. Oh, I need DoorDash, like we were talking about this morning. I need that food delivered to me, and then it lives on your phone, and you forget that maybe the location services are on or whatever.
Yeah.
So what's worth the trade-off? I think you really have to monitor and realize that your devices are an open book to your life.
I want our government to protect us. And here's what I mean by that. Our data is ours. It belongs to us. No one should be able to share or sell that data. And if that means that they don't make apps for us, then I had no apps on my phone in 1985, and I got along just fine.
We lived without apps. We absolutely did. We could do it again.
Yeah, if I have if I put my phone on the do not call registry, I expect the do not call. That's what I have to say.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I know.
All right, when we come back, we're going to have a really special shout out from Tom Hanks for the city of Cleveland.
Welcome back to Lunch Break with Stephanie, Maureen, Jay. We saw this kid yesterday. Maureen, he's from Idaho. His neighbor told him, listen, when you get your first school picture taken, you have to smile really big. So he did. Well, one of our viewers saw this and said, I can relate. This is 9-year-old Carter Gibson. He looks surprised.
I know.
He looks like wow, is that not great?
Yeah, he's at Firestone Elementary School in Akron. So his mom asked him why he posed like this. He said he just wanted to, which is great. I hope he takes a lot of pictures like this. I hope, like, you know, he's sitting on Santa's lap and that's how he's smiling.
I absolutely love it. Smile.
Yeah.
It's free. Let's check in on what's clicking in Cleveland. And for that right now, back to our digital anchor. Hello, Stephanie.
Rapper Tyga is trending in Northeast Ohio, if you can imagine that. We've got a photo of him and Kylie Jenner from when they were dating in 2017. The reason everybody's talking about Tyga is because everyone was saying that Kylie stopped by where he was recording at 2 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Kylie says that's not the truth. She sent a tweet out. She said there was no 2 a.m. date with Tyga and that the internet makes everything a big deal. So for everyone who was kind of wishing that Tyga and Kylie were getting back together since she split up with Travis Scott, maybe not going to happen. All right, another thing that people are very interested in right now is a kind of a Kardashian story that's happening right here in Canton. A Canton couple bought an old elementary school for $35,000 and are turning it into a mansion. It's a 10-year plan. They're going to spend $1 to $3 million and renovate it over the next 10 years.
Okay.
Seems pretty fancy.
I like it.
All right, now to our very special shout out from Tom Hanks, none other than Tom Hanks. He wrote an essay about friendship for AARP to promote his Fred Rogers biopic, which is coming out in November. And it was all about his very first acting job outside of California, and that was right here in Cleveland with the Great Lakes Shakespeare Festival. That was in 1977 and 1978. And it was a really sweet shout out to George McGuire and Michael John McGann, who really shaped his career and life. And this is what Tom Hanks had to say about them. He said they were the kind of actors he wanted to be and the kind of human beings he hoped to become. After his run with the theater here in Cleveland, they put him up in New York City, they fed him, they showed him the ropes, and now we all know and love Tom Hanks.
Very cool.
It is cool.
Yep.
So my parents actually would go and see him all the time when he was
Really?
with the Great Lakes Shakespeare Festival,
Right.
because my dad is a Shakespeare teacher. He teaches Shakespeare
how cool.
at St. Ignatius, so they would go see him. And then my uncle was having bit parts. They said he was so hilarious with the theater festival that he stood out. And then all of a sudden they saw him on Bosom Buddies, and they're like, "Hey, that's the guy!"
We
Like, he
remember
was
him.
so funny.
And who would
there
have
he
thought
is.
from Bosom Buddies we'd have really one of the top 3 or 4 actors of our generation?
That's true.
Tremendous.
He probably looks back and he thinks my #1 acting gig was Bosom Buddies, is what I'm thinking.
Hey, it launched one heck of a career, and we love Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Still to come on Lunch Break, this is a story you're definitely going to want to stick around for. A dinosaur-sized surprise for one very deserving Fairview Park kid. That's next when Lunch Break comes right back. along with Maureen Pyle. There's a young boy in Fairview Park trying to play the hand that life has dealt him. It's not a great hand, but as Will Hewitt shows us, sometimes it's the small things that can make a world of difference.
This may look like just a typical morning for 6-year-old Ezra.
Have a great day, buddy.
However, it's anything but. Because while he's at school, there's a transformation happening at home.
It's so awesome that all these people came out. It's so overwhelming.
Mark and Sarah Boggs are still in awe that volunteers from Special Spaces in Cleveland and the Jurassic World Live Tour teamed up to transform their dinosaur-loving son's bedroom into a scene straight from the Jurassic World show.
We're so excited to be here with Special Spaces. We are helping transform a bedroom into a Jurassic World immersive bedroom experience.
Every child deserves a comfortable, welcoming space that makes them happy. But it's especially important for children fighting an uphill battle.
Special Spaces decorates bedrooms for children that have cancer, a place where they feel safe and they can recover, and it's just their own space, however they wanted it to be.
Hi, Bubba.
Ezra is suffering from an optic glioma brain tumor, but in meeting him, you'd never know.
He is so just vivacious and resilient.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
All right, me too.
You won't really catch him feeling sorry for himself or complaining much. He's a sweet kid.
To have a whole team show up to help is really, really special.
Okay,
Open it up.
Let's see what's happened.
Wow. I really like this room.
Everyone was excited for Ezra to see what had happened to his room, but no one more than Ezra himself. In fact, he probably didn't get too much accomplished at school because
I was thinking about it all day.
And that's not it for Ezra. He gets more. He's going to go see Jurassic World live at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse this weekend. It runs today through October 6th, just in case you have a dinosaur fan in your house.
Yes. Ezra, we're behind you. Courageous young man. Next on Lunch Break, the college admission scandal involving beloved Aunt Becky from Full House. Well, they have their own Halloween costume now. Of course they do. And there's, get this, Maureen, a sexy Mr. Rogers costume.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it. Just wait, Jay.
Well, we'll show it to our audience when we come back. Lunch break. Wine lovers, mark your calendar as you look at this hazy day over Cleveland for November 1st. That's because Aldi's is bringing the wine advent calendars back. These are hugely popular last year.
Oh, yeah. They
sold out in like 15 minutes?
15 minutes is what a friend of mine manages in Aldi's. She says there was a line out the door and it sold out.
Why? Why were they so popular?
Because it was like wine and cheese.
Oh, okay.
There was a wine version and a cheese version.
Okay.
And both of them sold out.
Well, November 1st, so be ready for that.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of costumes to share for you. Halloween just around the corner. Everything has a costume now.
Everything.
We know about the college admissions scandal. You know, there were famous people spending money to get their kids into college. This one, inspired by that whole deal. I guess it says Mother of the Year, and it's crossed out, and then it says inmate on it. So if you want to play along with that scandal, boy, that's kind of a scandalous costume, actually.
I'm not going to attempt that one. No.
No? Okay.
Maybe I'll attempt the Mr. Rogers one.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see this one. Wait, that's the
it.
Mr. Rogers costume?
Would you look at that and say, oh, she's Mr. Rogers?
I do not associate that costume with Mr. Rogers.
No, and I was just joking. I won't ever wear that.
Wow. Yeah, I was expecting it to be for
like an actual
for a
cardigan.
guy. It is
maybe
Mr.
some shoes.
Rogers after all.
No.
Okay, but there is a tie, there is a sweater, and that's about all I see in Mr. Rogers there. Thanks for joining us. We're out of time, but we launch For Real Monday, and we hope you come along for the ride. For Maureen and Stephanie, I'm Jay. Thanks for sharing your lunch with us. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for making 3 News a part of your afternoon. Watch us live wherever you are, on our website, on our apps, and on Hulu and Roku. No matter where you are, 3 News is there.